Hello, and welcome back to my story, Letter to Nicholas. Chapter 4. The next morning, I was washed and dressed in a beautiful gold-coloured dress. It had a low neckline, large puffed-out sleeves, and a huge billowing skirt. The tight waistline had to be adjusted, as I was still out of shape around the middle. I successfully breastfed my baby, and he was peacefully asleep when I heard footsteps approach. A man entered the room with Mesdames Adeline and Margot. They sat down nearby, and the man approached, looked at the baby, smiled, and then greeted me. "Bartholomew, at your service, madam." "Delighted to meet you," I managed to reply. Everything was contrary to the picture I had formed in my mind. "My name is difficult to pronounce, so just call me Bart." He smiled and again bent over to look at the baby. What a handsome boy! I could not understand what was going on. This man was tall, slim, good-looking, elegantly dressed, and with fair hair and blue eyes. I guessed he was 10 or 12 years older than me. It was strange, he seemed so nice and so genuine. I could not imagine what role he was to play in my life. He complimented me on looking so well and for having produced such a handsome, healthy son. He explained that he would return for me in 2 days. "We are going to travel to England. Don't worry. I promise I will take great care of both of you. I'm sure you will enjoy it." He bowed and left. I overheard Madame Margot, speaking very slowly and clearly in French, say that the marriage certificate and birth certificate had been prepared, and that on receipt of the final payment he could depart avec ses achats, with his purchases. What turmoil was in my brain! Fear of the unknown was pierced with shafts of sunlight. I had just suffered the degradation of being sold, but was it possible that a better life awaited me? "Let's call him Nicholas," said Bart as we set out on our journey to England. "Yes, sir," I replied. "I will call you Ellie." "You will call me Bart, except when we are in company. Then you can call me sir." My full title is Lord Middlechurch, Earl of Downcastle. We travelled alone to Calais, where we stayed the night in a hotel. Nicholas and I had our own room. I did not sleep well. I had forgotten everything good in life. I no longer knew how to smile or laugh or trust or hope. Bart asked me if I could make an effort to look happy. I didn't know how anymore. I didn't know what happiness was. Nevertheless, the fairy tale began. I had a handsome husband, a beautiful baby, and I was mistress of a mansion set in acres of beautiful forests and gardens dotted with lakes. Everywhere there was wildlife, swans, peacocks, ducks, deer, and shrubs and trees whose names I didn't even know in my native French. I had little to do. I learned about running the house, but the housekeeper and her staff made it unnecessary for me to be involved. Bart was extremely busy. He owned textile mills and an import-export business in London. He was frequently absent, but when he was at home, he would spend an hour playing with his baby son. Bart was sensitive and creative. He loved to paint, and he excelled at woodwork. When Nicholas was older, he built him a wooden fort, and they played with it together. There were some happy moments in my life. There were no balls or banquets. No one called to see me. The staff were helpful and treated me with civility. Looking back, I surmise that there was gossip about my origins. I was French and very young. The local ladies probably had their theories and almost certainly disapproved. I longed for a friend, and I longed for the touch of another human being. My husband was kind and gentle, and I began to imagine that I had feelings for him. At this time, Nicholas was about 13 months old and was just starting to walk. This fascinated Bart, and he came every day to see what progress had been made. One day I was sitting with Nicholas on my knee reading to him from a book. Bart arrived. "Well, my boy, show Papa how well you can walk today." As he bent over to lift the boy from my knee, I leaned forward and kissed Bart on the cheek. He reacted instantly and with horror, as if he had been stung by a bee. "Never, ever do that again." He spoke quietly, but his face was contorted with disgust. "Do you understand? Never touch me again." It was a bitter pill. I thought I would cry and be sad forever. But I had my son, and watching him grow was such a delight. He was tall, fair-haired, athletic, handsome, and very clever. He was, I decided, worth living for. I stopped wanting what I couldn't have and lived for each day. I filled my day with reading and long walks in the grounds of our estate. I sometimes stopped to talk to Archie, the head gardener. He was a kind old man, and he loved to relate little stories about past times on the estate. This is what he told me one day. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is all for now. See you soon. Bye.